The story begins with Suho Kim, aka Lloyd Frontera, waking up to an alarm notification saying that he was turned into a character of Knight of Blood and Iron, which was a book that he read the previous night. When he woke up, he found himself lying down on the ground face down on a dirt road while it was freezing cold outside, and his jaws went out of place. He immediately had a grasp of his situation, and it didn't take him much time to realize that he took a character in the story, and just at the same moment, the white-haired renowned swordsman protagonist Javier Asrahan came to him calling the master. Even though Javier made fun of his master in his confusing situation, he seemed helpful when they got home and explained how he came to lie down on the ground. He seemed purely concerned for the Baron, the father of Lloyd Frontera, and when he asked him about the debt of his family, Javier moved outside without answering. The new Lloyd knew what was going to happen in the future since he had already finished reading the story's last chapter, and it wasn't desirable. In the story, both Isekai'd and his father met their unfortunate death after being preyed upon by an evil con man. The next morning, the mother of Isekai'd, Marbella Frontera, wanted him to go and apologize to the pub owner that he had destroyed the previous night. He accepted without even hesitating for once, which confused the hell out of them as it was so unlike him. Everyone in the medieval village detested him as they went away just after making eye contact with him, and Javier was there by his side to protect himself from the villagers. Isekai'd knew what obstacle he had to move before reaching his goal, and eventually, they got into the same pub, which still didn't recover from his scumbag behavior last night. Even the pub owner himself was heavily confused by the situation that he created, and Lloyd was out of ideas, feeling like his apology didn't work. Javier explained the situation to him even more, and it seems that the pub owner's mother fell sick in the winter. Suddenly, Lloyd got the idea of using his civil engineering degree for the betterment of everyone with the experience that he had in his military days, which may even settle the Baron's debt in his new life. The beginning of his new journey activated his relationship points as soon as he started going on his way to the pub owner once again. Unfortunately, the status board didn't have any guide on how to use the relationship points with key characters, and everyone including Javier had an approval rating on them. Isekai'd tries his charisma to improve the rating, but it only decreased by 1, which made him lose hope to increase it for the time being. When Isekai'd makes his proposal to the pub owner to write off all construction fees against all of the property he damaged, the owner only grew suspicious of him instantly. He had to resort to his hooligan image to make it work, and it sure did, which confirmed his first order in the new world. Back in the yard when Lloyd was preparing to make adjustments for the expansion, also Javier was feeling suspicious of him, but the new psychological adjustment blew his mind to be precise. Isekai'd resorted to the traditional construction method with heavy wooden logs while building the foundation, but his new body was barely adjusting to the environment and hardship. Javier couldn't bear thinking how his master changed just in a day as he continued to work to make the contract successful. The change of mind motivated Javier so highly that he himself went on helping his master with his master swordsman skills. Not only that, but also, this time Isekai'd wasn't focused on using his skills to his benefit, but he made a promise to work together to build something great. The construction finally ended as Lloyd made a finishing touch on the house with his self-made logo for his company. The pub owner and his mother were feeling truly astounded to be in the house made by Lloyd, as the powers of the Ondol floor worked like a magic charm against the cold winter. Isekai'd kept on surprising Javier with his new behavior, and his approval rating for him increased by 2 points, which made him earn some RP for improving with a key character like him. Even though Isekai'd made a loss while building the house with timber, but he was happy to witness the fruit of his hardship and considered it a model house for his future work. The villagers were amazed to see Isekai'd's newly made house for the pub owner, but they were still unable to trust him to rebuild their own house. Suddenly, his own father Arcos Frontera came in front of him asking questions about his mindset. Back in the manor, Arcos Frontera started interrogating his son at the dinner table as he continued to charge at his son, judging by his previous self. But he was able to guess the reason behind his son working up all of a sudden, but he wanted to handle the financial matter himself. Lloyd felt like he was listening to his real father back in his previous life, who continued to lie to him about their situation, which only grew worse as time passed. He never had the chance to speak up his mind to his father in his previous life, but he was going to make a change this time. While he was leaving the dining room, he met 2 moneylenders named Meatloaf and Shiloh, who entered their manor only to threaten his father, asking for money that he owed from them. Lloyd had the chance to invest the RP that he earned from achieving approvals from Javier, which gave him the ability to use basic surveying and basic designing, which gave his eyes the ability to see everything through his own eyes. He also found the ability to summon and to use that he needed heavy XP loads to complete the summoning. Only using his techniques was going to help him again XP against the key characters, so he intervened in the meeting of the moneylenders. When he asked them for their warrant for trespassing, they all continued to tremble as he ordered Javier to cut off their arm. Knowing that the judges will take Lloyd's side, they ended up fleeing like hell from the manor, and he served his father the money he got from his orders for the current month's interest. When his father was worried about his conscience, Javier assured him that his master will fulfill the orders as he will stand by him. It seems that the law he talked about wasn't just taken from any book, but the story of Javier's life when his masters ended their lives as he sliced off their heads. Finally, Lloyd was getting ahead of his tasks as he was closer to summoning his first item. That night, a magic circle appeared when he proceeded to summon a dud, but instead a hamster came out of it with a user manual in its mouth. He only needed to feed it 2 types of sunflower seeds that would change its size to gigantic in an instant as it grew over 30 feet. The gigantic, cute-looking hamster was able to do multiple tasks at the same time, such as digging and packing dirt, which only increased via continuous workflow. Lloyd was highly motivated to meet his heavy equipment, even when it wasn't what he expected to get. But there was still a risk of getting seen by the public while using his hamster, so he wanted to carry a book with him. The next morning, he gathered all of the 30 soldiers that his father had recruited for his protection, but their useless state of them only made him feel like they were paid for no work. Thinking that he could use them as laborers to make his work done faster to make clay for the foundation of Ondal houses, but gets interrupted by Newman, the senior knight in Frontiera's barony. Lloyd could guess that something like that was about to happen soon since he was the one person that betrayed his father in his final days and ran away. He was the one who could be blamed the most for the current state of Baron's financial affairs, and Lloyd used his chance to throw dirt at his face as he asked for a duel. Lloyd explained to Javier that he wanted to fight against Newman in 1 month's time, and Javier was really close to cutting him down for throwing dirt in his superior's face while challenging him to a duel. Suddenly, Lloyd asked Javier a favor, revealing that he wanted to learn how to use a sword, but it was instantly refused by his master swordsman since his only job is to watch him. Lloyd then immediately moved around the situation, mentioning Javier's insomnia, which was having a toll on him as he was on the verge to transition to a sword master while crossing the line between human and superhuman. Javier had to agree to have no options, but he didn't have high hopes for his master as he analyzed from the time he was appointed for watching over him, and he had tried multiple remedies to get out of it. But Lloyd was done with it in no time by reading him his reinforced concrete textbook, which was at least 18 times more sleep-inducing than any kind of magic. The next day his training started, and Lloyd complied with any kind of task that Javier appointed him to do so. Even though he was looking forward to learning some special skills, he had to continue building up the fundamentals of physical strength as he continued to annoy his bodyguard. The training might be rough, but he was living a more happy life in his new world, while he only awoke each day in a tiny room at a boarding house. Compared to the pain and despair that he got used to by working every day head to toe in his real life, the training was nothing, while Javier was eager to teach his master his fighting skills after noticing his determination. Meanwhile, Newman was complaining to the Baron about his son, and realizing that he had no chance to stop the duel, Baron instead instructed him to go easy on his son to get him back to his senses, while the snake Newman had some sinister idea playing inside his mind. It was revealed that Newman was the one who planned to murder the Baron and Baroness to make it look like a suicide, as he planned to leave the tiny village and go somewhere bigger. Then eventually 1 month later, Newman was ready to face off against his young master, as he was also ready with his shovel on his shoulder and a heavy smirk on his face. Nobody believed that he was going to beat Newman with only a shovel, while the man himself was getting annoyed by witnessing his own disrespect. While the Baron was ashamed of his son's actions, only Javier knew that he was using a solid iron shovel, which he asked the blacksmith for. When everybody was shaming him while getting annoyed by his disrespectful activities and motives, Javier knew that Lloyd wasn't joking this time, since he tried his best to accustom to the new way. The continuous physical training, construction work, and sword practice right up until he went to sleep wasn't the disposition of someone preparing a joke. When the fight began, even Javier was astonished by the movement made by his young master that only looked like a skill adapted specifically for real-life fighting, as if he had trained for his whole life. In reality, it was just the essence of Korean modern military hand-to-hand combat bayonet training. Lloyd also used the shovel like a pogo stick to annoy his opponent to distract him from using his efficient moves. The shoveling skill expansion helped him to increase his physical strength while training with Javier. When Newman found out that there was no way of winning over Lloyd with his normal skills, he revealed his mana heart, which was supposed to be impossible for his opponent to block out. The parents of Lloyd were truly concerned about their son's well-being witnessing the madness that unfolded in front of them, but the Asrahan core technique absorbed all of Newman's mana in one swoop as he got unconscious in one hit made by the shovel. Unfathomable hits made by the shovel made Newman lose one of his teeth as he got slammed down on the ground with a final hit. Everyone witnessing the fight was astonished to see the young master releasing his strength on the sword expert who lost to him. But the fight didn't really end for Lloyd as he continued pounding the man down on the ground with his iron shovel.